At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by New York 811. Be sure you call 811 before you start any digging project, big or small. Make the 811 call. By Good Humor, the official ice cream of the New York Mets. By Verizon, the most awarded network is now the best streaming network. And by the Meadowlands, tomorrow's harness racing's biggest day of the year, when the Meadowlands host the $1.2 million Hambletonian Pastime at noon. Such architectural icons in the big city. Chrysler Building, Brooklyn Bridge, the Arch in Washington Square Park, and Citi Field, home of the Mets. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play Game 2 of their 4-game series against the Braves. Jacob deGrom goes to the mound tonight for the Mets. The Mets hope to score some runs for him, but runs or not, deGrom is having a seminal year for the Mets.
Well, every fifth day you get a Cy Young type effort. He would be having a Cy Young type year if the offense didn't fall asleep every fifth day when he pitched. None more typified than his starts against the Atlanta Braves. His last 4, the Mets have lost all 4. He's pitched 25 innings, only given up 2 runs.
That's almost impossible, right?
Right, it is.
Well, part of what deGrom has to contend with against the Braves tonight and going forward as the Mets and Braves continue their rivalry is the 2 young guys at the top of the Atlanta batting order, and both of them made their presence felt last night.
Well, I tell you what, those 2 guys right there, Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna, you can see the ages right there. They got a future in front of them. If Acuna did not come up until late April and he had an injury and missed around another month, he's got around, if he's played as many games as Albies, he'd have the same numbers, and that means they hit with power, they score runs, and they can steal bases. They are very exciting players. I would love to be the number 3 hitter in that lineup. I'm sure Freddie Freeman is.
Albies has already made an all-star team at age 21. Acuna probably isn't far behind. It's the Mets and the Braves at Citi Field. All the action coming your way tonight on SNY. bobblehead tomorrow night to the first 25,000 fans in attendance, courtesy of City. Last year's Thor bobblehead was named the #1 promotion in MLB and the #1 bobblehead in Mets history by SNY.TV. Can't wait for next year's vote. Don't miss out on this season's most exclusive item. Go to Mets.com/tickets to purchase your seats today. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Altice One. Enjoy the ultimate viewing experience with Altice One only from Optimum. By People's United Bank, checking without curveballs. Member FDIC. And by Cure Auto Insurance. Isn't it about time to switch your car insurance and save? Visit Cure.com today. This Sunday is a McDonald's Family Sunday when the Mets take on the Braves at 1:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a Topps commemorative baseball card pack. Plus, all kids 12 and under can run the bases after the game in the Mr. Met Dash, courtesy of Northwell Health. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Now time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Tommy Pham traded from the Cardinals to the Rays. His second game, hit in the foot, broken foot. So it goes. Andrew Miller back in the bullpen for the Cleveland Indians after sitting out a couple of months with a leg injury. And Javier Baez and Jose Quintana helped the Cubs to a victory over the Padres this afternoon. Cubs now a game and a half in front in the National League Central. Jacob deGrom all set to start off a Friday night at Citi Field. Jacob deGrom set to go. Ronald Acuna leads off the Braves. First pitch of the night, a fastball in for a strike, and we're underway.
So Toyota numbers, his 129th game started for the Mets, 50 and 38 in his career with a ERA of 2.78.
Acuna 2 for 3 last night, including a triple that led off the game and helped the Braves to an early lead. 211 at bats deep into his big league career for the 20-year-old. Came up in late April, missed a month because of a knee injury, but continues to make his mark, hitting .357 since the All-Star break. And DeGrom blows one by him, and it's 2-2.
Pitch prior under his chin. Next pitch down the middle beats him.
2-2 coming. And it's on the outside corner. Got him looking. DeGrom with nothing but heat strikes out Acuna to start the ninth. There's the starting lineup for the Braves. Kurt Suzuki gets the start behind the plate. Ender Inciarte back in his normal spot in center field. Adam Duvall sits against the right-hander. Charlie Culberson gives Dansby Swanson a day off at shortstop. Here's Ozzie Albies. And as he generally does, he swings at the first pitch, and it's a changeup from DeGrom.
Nice counter by DeGrom. Oh, go ahead, Keith.
No, go on.
I was just saying that after that ball underneath the chin of Acuna Jr., I'd like to see maybe if that's a theme for DeGrom tonight, if he pitches these hitters up and in.
Albies pushes a bunt. Frazier was playing in, though, and has an easy time throwing him out. Nicely done by Todd. Albies pushing a bunt even though Frazier was in on the grass, and that's the second out.
And he certainly squared around way too early to have any kind of deception. There's no deception. I guess he felt if he got it down the line, which, okay, great, but he did not do that.
Meanwhile, DeGrom does a header heading toward that ball.
He was laughing after he got up.
It's also a ball that for much of the season he would have had to play himself because the Mets have had all sorts of non-third basemen playing third base, but Frazier knows what he's doing. Now here's Freddie Freeman with 2 out and nobody on.
Jacob looked like a newborn calf there.
Freeman 1 for 4 last night. He has 11 career hits against DeGrom. Only one player has more, and that's Christian Yelich, who has 14. Jake behind 2-0. And he goes with a 2-0 slider and gets a swing and miss. 2-1.
Got those 2 sliders. The one that's a little bigger that he uses against the right-hander, and the little tight one against the lefty, as you see the shift.
Working at a very fast pace, and he fires a 97-mile-an-hour fastball in for a strike. 2-2.
His last 2 starts, Jacobs, he hasn't really had the good slider, but nothing like a first division team with a good lineup to get you going.
Freeman hits one through the vacated space into left field. Charged quickly by Conforto, and Freddie will stop at first base with a ground ball 40-mile-an-hour single. I don't know if it was actually 40. Actually, it's at 57.6 mile an hour exit velocity.
Well, that's a little inside out right there. Beautiful.
For all those people who don't think putting the ball in play with 2 strikes is a good idea, testimony.
Generally, DeGrom has been very successful when the Mets have shifted behind him. Not that time.
I would definitely give Freddie the third base line big time. I'd get out in that hole, take that hole away from him.
So a 2-out base runner. Nick Markakis fouls off a first pitch curveball.
And your Lexus Mets infield, Reyes moves to second base. Todd Frazier's second game at third, back from the disabled list. Batista first start at first base this season, and their outfield has been pretty consistent. Jackson back in the lineup.
Markakis 0 for 3 last night. Starts the ninth, 3rd in the league in batting. He began last night leading the league in hitting. Christian Yelich is back on top now, but Markakis still leads the league in hits with 130. Freeman at first and 2 out. And Markakis flies one deep to left. Back goes Conforto onto the warning track to make the catch, stumbling as he goes to retire the side. Markakis giving it a ride the other way. Conforto equal to the task, and that gets DeGrom through the opening inning unscathed. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the 1st with no score. Austin Jackson in the 5-hole. His 4th start as a Met. Jose Reyes hitting 6th. Let's see. The Mets have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in the lineup tonight 30 years or older.
Well, here's a guy who's 30 years or older. Anibal Sanchez, his Land Rover number is 276 games started tonight, 12 Ks from 1,500. He's had quite a career.
Nimmo led off the first inning with a home run last night. 3rd time he's done that this year. He has 14 for the season. Trying to fight a post All-Star break slump. Last time the Mets saw Anibal Sanchez, he was just coming off the disabled list in late May. He had been out with a hamstring injury for a month and a half, and he didn't pitch particularly well that night, but he has been a godsend for the Braves rotation this year.
Little sinking action on his fastball. He'll throw a changeup off that, a big curve, cutter, and slider. He's got an assortment of pitches.
Mets first saw him as a member of the then Florida Marlins. Driven to right field. On comes Markakis to dive and make the catch. Sinking line drive. Markakis grabs it to retire Nimmo, 1 out.
Well, Markakis has won the gold. Comes in here, makes a nice diving catch, a little backhand.
I like their defense, the Braves.
I like their team.
Yeah.
It's a better defense tonight with Inciarte in center and Acuna in left.
Yep.
Here's Jose Bautista. Suffering through his longest 0-for of the season. He's gone 0 for his last 15.
And the Jeep Brave infield. Suzuki back behind the plate. We mentioned he was a vacuum cleaner last night. Now he's a ice cream scooper, of course. Charlie Culberson getting the start at shortstop. And your Brave outfield. And you've got 2 Gold Glovers, as Gary just mentioned. They're much better defensively out there. Obviously, Inciarte can go get them.
I mean, Duvall's a good left fielder, but Acuna in center, not nearly what Inciarte is. That's what they had out there last night.
Inciarte, in the history of this ballpark, one of the top 5 best catches, right?
A game-ending catch that he made against Cespedes. That was
top 3, maybe.
That was fantastic. Over in right center field. 1-2 to Bautista, and it's blowing away. A slider from Sanchez, 2-2. Anibal Sanchez, last year in Detroit, a miserable year for him. 6.41 ERA. Signed with the Twins. They let him go during spring training. The Braves signed him on March the 16th. And it's hard to imagine where they would be without him. 13 starts, 5-3 with a 3 ERA. And Bautista takes strike 3 called. Cutter on the inside corner gets him for the 2nd out.
Well, that's a pitch he didn't have early in his career, and that's the ball slider that starts or cutter right at the hitter's knee and then bends over that inside corner.
Well framed by Suzuki.
So 2 out and nobody on now. Michael Conforto, 0 for 3 last night, hitting .229 for the year. And he takes a knee-high fastball for a strike.
Well, a little bit of rain fell and cooled things off. It's not nearly, not even close, the humidity as it was last night.
Are we in the clear, Mr. G?
Yes, we are. We are. Well, I don't want to go out on a limb.
You really are a weatherman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna hedge everything you say. Probably cloudy chance of shower.
Yeah.
So Stu Sherwater was behind the plate last night. I thought he called the high strike. He's a taller umpire. Corey Blazer, shorter umpire. I think he calls the ball down in the strike zone. Doesn't always correlate like that, but sometimes.
Slammed to center, but right there is Inciarte to pick it off. 2 line drives in the inning, both caught by Brave outfielders. Sanchez living right. He's got a 1-2-3 opening inning. No score after 1. Jacob deGrom is a man in a hurry tonight. Scheduled first pitch was 7:10. He threw the first pitch at 7:09. He was out there ready to pitch a full 30 seconds before Kurt Suzuki stepped into the batter's box to start the second inning.
He's one of the few pitchers that still runs out to the mound in between innings. You don't see that very often.
I think he's a man on a mission tonight.
Suzuki pounds one into the ground foul, and it's 0-2. AT&T achieving more stat since deGrom entered the big leagues in 2014. Only 3 pitchers in baseball have better ERAs, and Scherzer just by a sliver, which may be how Max is leading the Cy Young race, by a sliver.
I think Nola's in that discussion too.
He's had an awfully good year, but nobody else has a 1.82 ERA.
No.
1-2 to Suzuki, who's been struggling lately. 156 over his last 12 games. And he drives one out to left. Conforto circles in to get it. 1 out. SNY's Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Here's Ender Inciarte. Came in late for defense last night, had 1 at bat and struck out. Inciarte was having a really down year before the All-Star break, but he's turned it on since. Now he's seen some of his playing time evaporate with the acquisition of Adam Duvall. And first pitch curveball, he held the swing, ball 1. Inciarte was asked about that tonight. He said, I have to prove myself all over again. It's a nice attitude.
Refreshing.
I mean, he had a great year last year. That's lined down the left field line, and Inciarte hits it foul. Nice grab by the ball boy. Didn't even have to stand up.
You know that ball's foul, but I would
let it go.
I would tell him to do not do that again, or it's the Russian front.
Oh, gee. That's a little tough.
With Napoleon?
Awfully cold.
Inciarte fouls off the changeup, and it's 1-2. What was that?
No. Maybe they're friends. There you go. Got in on him.
Another chance for Conforto coming on. That's 3 fly balls in a row that have found Conforto's mitt. 2 out and nobody on in the second.
It's a lot of that kind of stuff. You see teams that face each other a lot. The first time up, the batter will kind of nod to the pitcher, like on guard, I guess is the equivalent.
I don't know. It doesn't always work out that way. Remember the Reds and Cardinals with Brandon Phillips tapping Molina's shin guards, and a whole brouhaha ensued. Johan Camargo hitting 7th in the order. Camargo 1 for 4 last night, drove in a pair of runs that proved to be the difference in the game, and he slams this one deep to right field, and forget that. Into the second deck, Johan Camargo with his 13th home run of the year opens the scoring. And the Braves have a 1-0 lead.
Ronnie, you and I were talking yesterday about how Camargo, or was it early before the game when we got here, how Camargo has really hurt the Mets this year.
He's been one of their best run producers since the middle of June. He's had a walk-off home run against the Mets this year. This pitch was a good pitch. It was in on him. I don't know how he kept it fair and hit it that far. Well, remarkable.
They've been trying all year to replace him. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they brought in Bautista to replace him at third base earlier this year. And they kept on looking, and now Camargo keeps on producing.
He kind of just one-handed that out.
Only the 8th home run DeGrom's allowed in 22 starts this year. Culberson pops one foul, and that's going to land untouched. Well, we talked on in our open about Acuna and Albies, the two young stars at the top of the batting order. You know, Camargo's only 24. It's his second season. Had a really nice rookie season last year, but I don't think they really believed in it. And now he's continued his fine play into his second year. Culberson goes down on an upstairs fastball, and DeGrom has his second strikeout to end the inning. But not before Johan Camargo puts the Braves in front. His 13th home run of the year. 1-0 Atlanta in the second. Landing.
Get down.
Delta.
Get down.
Now, get down, get down, get down. Now, keep it down.
Breaks.
Right down the middle. Perfectly executed.
Remember in our flights, Ron, we'd go.
we were awful.
We had fun.
Yes, we did.
Todd Frazier leads off the home second. Frazier made his return from the disabled list last night, went 0 for 4. It'll be Frazier, Austin Jackson, and Jose Reyes against Anibal Sanchez, who gave a couple of hard hit balls but pitched a 1-2-3 first. Well, he has had what you would call a checkered career. Starred and then struggled the last 2 years in Detroit, but having a really good year in 2018.
He was part of that Miami rotation way back that had such promise. That wasn't Miami then, it was Florida, right?
Yes, it was.
Who was it? Johnson and Jesus.
Dontrell.
Yeah, that's been such a long time.
Out to right center, and Inciarte started back, now has to race in and gets there for the first out. He misjudged that ball, but it was high enough in the air, no problem. Customize your experience to catch every moment this season. Get New York Mets home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. Austin Jackson starting for the 4th time since the Mets signed him as a free agent. Hitting 5th in the order today. First time he's hit 5th in the order for anybody since 2014. Austin's playing for his 8th different team in the last 5 years. 3 for 7 in his career against Anibal Sanchez.
Jackson and Sanchez must have been teammates at some point, you would think, right? In Detroit?
Probably so.
Yeah.
Curveball bounce foul.
You know, his stuff is not as sharp as it was early on in his career. But he's got enough assortment of pitches. Look at the reflection off the mask of Suzuki.
It's like anything else. You adapt or you're adios.
Yep.
I always find it interesting, the pitchers that evolve and adapt to their lesser stuff as they get older.
On the inside corner, Jackson takes the cutter for strike 3 call. Second strikeout for Sanchez, both on the same pitch. Verizon trivia question for tonight. Freddie Freeman, one of 5 National League players with 300 or more extra base hits since 2014. Who might the other 4 be? Jose Reyes sitting 6th in the order tonight. Swung the bat well the last few days. 2 home runs day before yesterday in Washington. A double last night. Flirting with getting over the Mendoza line for the season. Reyes has had the most at bats of anybody in the lineup against Sanchez, 39 of them. 9 hits, a .231 average against this right-hander. One-two coming, and Reyes fouls it off. Reyes playing second base tonight. Despite the fact that a right-hander is on the mound, Jeff McNeil is on the bench. Mickey Callaway says he wants to give McNeil periodic rest, and tonight's a night for that rest. McNeil has started 6 major league games. 2-2 to Reyes. But Mickey made the point. McNeil was hurt the last couple of years. He played 25 straight days for Vegas. They need to watch out as far as fatigue is concerned, and that's why McNeil is sitting tonight.
I wish they cared about me that much when I played.
Change up off the plate and a full count to Reyes.
They did care about you, but they cared about winning more, so they made sure you were out there every day.
They cared about allowing you to play.
That was my preference, too.
Right. Grounded right at the second baseman, Albies. 6 up and 6 down for Anibal Sanchez to start the night. DeGrom heads back to the mound. 1-0 Atlanta after 2. Jackpot sweepstakes from the New York Lottery, and you could win cash if a Mets player hits a home run off the New York Lottery sign. Current bullpen jackpot is $285,000. Go to sny.tv/New York Lottery to enter. Anibal Sanchez leads off against Jacob deGrom. Sanchez looking for his first hit of the season. He's 0 for 20.
As a Brave. That's right. What am I saying? That was his career. He's not a hitter, that's for sure. 13 strikeouts in those 20 at-bats.
Might also add that no pitcher has had a hit against deGrom this year. They're 0 for 33. Were you knocking on wood?
I'm not.
Come on.
Things that are secrets in the booth don't travel outside.
Come on. You don't really believe that, do you?
There's part of me that does believe
I do.
There's part of me that believes it. Very superstitious, Gary. I mean, I know it's just horrible, but
0 for 34. Third strikeout for Jake. First time through the batting order. Well, there are some of the stellar numbers for deGrom this year. Slugging percentage, second best among National League starters, right behind Aaron Nola, whom Ronnie mentioned earlier. Here's Ronald Acuna, who took a call third strike his first time, and he bangs one toward the middle, and he's got a base hit. Jackson charges it. Acuna takes a hard turn, but he'll hold it first with a one-out single.
I tell you what, this is a fast team. They got a lot of team speed, and they hustle. Little flat slider there, not a good one. Acuna stayed. Remember now, Acuna got overmatched in the first at bat, called third strike on around 3 pitches.
Acuna had one of the Braves' 3 stolen bases last night, and remember, it was a stolen base that really put deGrom behind the 8 ball in his last start in Pittsburgh. He was in a scoreless game, 6th inning, 2 out. Gregory Polanco got a hit, stole second, came home with the first run of the game, and the Mets never scored for deGrom, and the Pirates won the game 5-0. Acuna 6 steals in 7 tries, and Albies takes the changeup off the plate, ball 1. Second time he started Albies with a first pitch changeup. Braves are 4th in the National League overall in stolen bases. Jake's been a little more vulnerable to the steal. They're running more against him this year because, well, it's so hard to hit against.
Right, precisely.
Longer hold this time, and Albies pops one foul. 9 steals against deGrom, but he also had 6 caught stealings on his ledger, which is not a bad percentage. Freddie Freeman on deck.
in humid night, you can see it on deGrom's face.
It's where it helps to have grown up in Florida.
Grew up in Florida and do all the work necessary in between starts. You know deGrom does that.
Aggressive lead.
Albies takes a slider for a strike, and it's 1-2.
I think Albies wanted to call timeout and was angry that he didn't get it from Corey Blazer, the home plate umpire.
There you see the umpiring quartet. Gary Cederstrom is the crew chief. He's at first. Chris Siegel and Stu Sherwater rounding out the crew. deGrom has held it a little longer for a couple of pitches during this at bat. That's why Albies wanted to get time. Runner goes. Albies grounds one on the hole, and it's smothered by Reyes, and he throws him out. Heading for third, Acuna. The throw across the diamond by Bautista, and they double him up. Side retired. Great play by Reyes to throw out Albies, and then Bautista, playing his first game of the season at first base, makes the perfect throw across the diamond for the 4-3-5 double play that ends the inning.
This is a beautiful play by Reyes. And Bautista, with the presence of mind, throws a perfect strike. Well done.
Beautifully executed all the way around. Frazier slaps the tag to get DeGrom through the inning. Home third inning. Ahmed Rosario leads off against Anibal Sanchez. Corners in against Ahmed, who's just 1 for his last 23. Sat out last night and takes low and away ball 1. Rosario, Mesoraco, and DeGrom, the lower third of the order against Sanchez, who's retired the first 6 despite some hard hit balls. And that hard hit ball down the right field line will fall for a base hit. Hits off the sidewall. Rosario heads for second, and he'll make it easily with the Mets' first hit of the night, an opposite field double.
Well, he hit that ball off his shoe tops, Keith.
Man, it looked like he almost cued it towards the end of the bat. Just inside the line. The way he's been going right now, having a hard time, he'll take it. Yeah, that's off the end of the bat. I thought so.
So the Mets with their first base runner of the night. And now Devin Mesoraco getting 8th in the order. Tying run at second with nobody out. And a half swing and a miss at the cutter, 0-1. Sanchez only started throwing that cutter a few years ago. It's become such an important weapon for him.
Well, as you get older, you want every pitch to have a little bit of movement, and that's what he does now.
Well, everybody in the 80s on that Montreal pitching staff threw the cutter. David Palmer, Bill Gullickson, Charlie Lee. Way down the line there, Camargo hugging that line.
So it's got a semi-shift on when you see that defense, right? Camargo's against the line and Culberson's over.
Well, here's my point.
Yeah.
You got to be that much on the line. You can go another 5 feet out, and then the shortstop can go another 5 or 10 feet out to towards center field, and you got more of the infield covered. How many balls are pulled down the line?
Yeah.
Let's go back to that base running attempt by Acuna trying to go first to third.
He sees where the ball is. He looks behind him. Well, you know what? I like the aggressiveness. He knew the play was made.
But the hesitation coming around second cost him.
Should have called off the jam, but
He probably should have
20 years old.
Should have shut it down, but still, this is what this team's about. They're exciting, and they put the pressure on the defense.
And give the Mets credit, they made 2 really good defensive plays, Reyes and Bautista.
Yes, they did. Great range by Reyes.
First game Bautista started at first base since 2014. Mesoraco hooks one down the line, foul.
Devin's just been way out in front.
Mets hitting just .228 with runners in scoring position as a team. That's last in the National League. Their overall batting average is exactly the same, .228, which is also last in the league.
There are 3 teams there that are going for postseason in those numbers.
Pulled down to third. Camargo's got it. Checks Rosario and throws out Mesoraco, one away. Perfectly positioned, Keith.
Well, it was to his left. It was to his left, Garrett. I mean, this to me, that's playing the line of the 7th inning on with you got a tying run at the plate or on the base, a winning run.
So 1 out. Rosario still at second. Now DeGrom, who had a couple of hits in his last start in Pittsburgh. Nothing came of it. 5 hits for the year now for Jake. Up the middle, DeGrom's got a base hit. Here comes Rosario around third, challenging the arm of Inciarte. One hop throw goes to the backstop. Mets have tied the game. DeGrom goes to second. He's driven in the Mets' first run. It's 1-1. Well, like Zach Wheeler the other day in Pittsburgh, if nobody else is driving in the run, do it yourself.
Fastball away. Met pitchers swing the bat. Ball's hit solidly. Inciarte really charges hard, but overthrows the cutoff man. You're going to have a hard time throwing Rosario out.
Exactly. We always talk about infielders having that inside clock on whether to throw it or how quickly to throw it. You would think an outfielder like Inciarte would know that at some point he's not going to have a play at the plate and keep the runner at first.
I think he thought that was a good challenge.
Rosario?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a guy who likes to throw people out, and all he does.
He does.
And, you know, the only thing you can do that, but just make sure you hit the cutoff man.
Right. DeGrom would have gone to second even if that ball had not gone to the backstop. Nimmo lined out to right his first time and takes the changeup low and away. 1-1. So the Mets have scored for DeGrom.
They have scored for DeGrom, and this doesn't come out of nowhere, even though Sanchez retired the first 6. 3 of those batters hit the ball right on the nose, and they're hitting it on the nose here in this inning.
Now starting their second time around the batting order. And Nimmo takes a fastball high, 2-1. So DeGrom, who had just 3 hits through his first 20 starts this year, now has 3 hits in his last 3 at-bats.
Sanchez loses part of his deception when he's in the stretch. From the windup, he gets to turn his back to the batter, hide the ball a little more. He tries to do that in the stretch, but can't do it as much.
Now 3-1 to Nimmo.
You always send the runner when he touches the bag as the outfielder is fielding the ball. You send, and particularly with a speedster.
But with Inciarte picking it up just as Rosario hit the bag, it's pulled down the line by Nimmo and foul. You can't really blame Inciarte for trying to get them.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not blaming him. I just think that the more prudent play was to make sure you hit the cutoff man, then you get an out. 2 outs, bases empty.
Third full count on the last 5 batters for Sanchez. Bautista on deck. And Nimmo lays off, ball 4. First walk given up by Sanchez. And the Mets have 2 men on. Well, the Phillies rallied last night for 3 in the bottom of the 9th. A walk-off home run from Maikel Franco that kept them in first place by a half game over the Braves. But the Braves took over the second wild card spot last night, passing by Arizona when the Diamondbacks lost. Zach Greinke outdueled by Madison Bumgarner last night. Greinke actually pitched better than Bumgarner did, but that's the way it goes. Here's Bautista with 2 aboard and 1 out.
Bumgarner hit better than he pitched.
The Giants somehow are still around. They're 5 games out in the West.
They're dropping like flies, though.
Well, Cueto going down with Tommy John. That's huge. Another good cutter by Sanchez, and it's 1-1. But the Dodgers last night, 7 home runs, 21 runs. It's that kind of weak.
Yeah, really.
Foul and out of play, 1-2. Texas Rangers scored 17 last night. You see what Rougned Odor did that only 3 other players ever did?
I know.
A home run and 5 walks.
Home run, 5 walks, and I think he's the only one that all 5 walks, none of them were intentional.
Right. Aaron, McGuire, Edgar Martinez, Rougned Odor. And Odor's the guy who never walks.
Exactly. I saw in 2016 when he had his big year, he had 632 at bats and he walked 19 times. Odor.
I think he had only 17 walks this year before last night. 2-2 coming. And the slow curve that just missed, 66 miles an hour.
Boy, he took a lot off of that one.
Let's see if he comes back with that inside cutter after the slow pitch. That's what he struck out Bautista before on.
DeGrom at second, Nimmo at first. And he goes to the slider to strike him out. Third strikeout for Sanchez, 2 out of the inning. Changeup.
Yeah.
He's got the arsenal, doesn't he? Putting that 66 mile an hour, whatever that is.
Beefus.
Here's Conforto with 2 out and 2 on. Michael takes a curveball for a strike. Conforto hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out to center field. "25 pitches in this inning already for Anibal Sanchez.
Oh,
And he
boy.
goes right back to that
Beefus.
slow thing.
That is a changeup. It's sinking, Ron. I'd like to see the grip on that. How?
So that's his regular changeup, and then he's got that 66 to 70 mile an hour thing.
I have not seen Sanchez with this pitch.
Just making up as he goes along.
Inventing pitches.
1-2 coming. Up and away with a fastball, 2-2. City probables for the remainder of the series. Zach Wheeler, coming off his shutout performance in Pittsburgh, goes tomorrow night against Kevin Gausman, who makes his Braves debut. Corey Oswalt takes Steven Matz's place Sunday against Julio Teheran. Matz went on the DL today officially. Conforto foul tips it, held by Suzuki, strike 3, and Sanchez able to limit the damage with back-to-back strikeouts. Mets get a run on DeGrom's hit to tie the game. Fourth inning for the Braves in a 1-1 game. Last night, Freddie came up in the third inning against Jason Vargas and drove in a run on a curveball that almost hit the ground. And we were wondering, Freddie, how exactly did you do that?
I don't know. My dad asked me the same thing after the game. When there's a guy in scoring position, especially at third with less than 2 outs, all you're really trying to do with the infield in is just to get one through the infield where no one is. So I think it was like 70 miles an hour. I saw it up a little bit, and I was just trying to hit a line drive up the middle, and I was lucky enough to golf one up there.
Well, there's two things you take from that. He situational hit. Said I got a runner on third base, less than 2 outs. All I need is a fly ball. Number 2, I'm going up the middle so I can get that runner in and get the fly ball. What does that make you? It makes you a better off-speed hitter because you're going to go up the middle. You're waiting longer, and he can just hit. And there it is. It's almost like a slap shot, and he doesn't follow through at all. I mean, you just flick of the wrist. It's like shot on goal. Watch the follow through. Hardly any follow through. Eye on the ball. I'm making contact. I'm getting that run in.
Freddie rolled a base hit into left field his first time up on a ground ball hit into no man's land. What used to be called third base.
That's the 4th changeup that DeGrom has thrown Freeman in 2 at-bats so far tonight. Another one.
Well, remember, DeGrom told us that Freddie Freeman's the one guy that gives him the most trouble in the league. Or one of the top 5, and you know, understandably.
Stays with the soft stuff and runs the count full. Nick Markakis on deck, then Kurt Suzuki in the 4th. First 3-ball count of the night for DeGrom, and it's low ball 4. So without ever throwing him a fastball, DeGrom walks Freeman leading off in the 4th.
Got to be careful with Freddie over at first base also. This is a game where it might be a pitcher's duel. Freddie's got 7 stolen bases on the year. He's only been caught twice.
One of those steals last night.
You know, you judiciously steal bases. You can do that and get 15 steals a season. Just in tight games, you just wait. People don't expect you to steal, and you can sneak one.
That's line into right field. Freeman had to go down to get out of the way, so he'll go to second and stop there. So Markakis almost low bridging his mate.
Whoa. I've not ever seen, I've seen guys dodge, but not hit the ground. That's right at him.
He's really fortunate to get out of the way.
Well, he had two things to do, either hit the deck or move to second base. And that ball was slightly in front of him. That was a rocket off the bat of Markakis.
I mean, Freddie's a big guy with a lot of moving parts.
Right.
And he had to move them all to get out of the way. That shoulder went down last. So first and second and nobody out. A fourth hit against DeGrom. And now Kurt Suzuki, who flied out to left his first time up.
Suzuki has been tough against the Mets this year. 8 home runs total. 3 of them have come against the Mets.
Came into the night hitting .387 against Mets pitching this year. Slowly hit. Frazier goes for the tag on Freeman. Now the throw to first, and it can't be dug out by Bautista. So the Mets get the lead man on the tag. 5 unassisted, but Bautista, playing his first game of the year at first base, couldn't quite dig out that rough one hopper.
Well, it's a short throw for Frazier. He makes the proper play there and just does. That's a tough hop for Bautista right there. I mean, that's a short throw for Todd, and he must have had it in his palm because he really didn't have anything on it. Let's see the exchange here. No, he had it good. He just didn't make a good throw.
Spiked it. Here's Inciarte, first and second, 1 out. By the way, just for reference, Bautista, this is his 17th career start at first base. Last one was 4 years ago.
That's quite a play, using his wrist just to keep that ball in front of him.
I mean, he did everything he was supposed to, right? Went down to up, trying to pull that offbeat hop out of the dirt. And Inciarte rolls one foul. A lot of changeups from DeGrom.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Keith. Any thought of, with the catcher running, the throw to second and go around the horn, even though the runner's in front of you?
You still complete the double play.
Yeah.
If you make the throw. So I think it's the right play.
Okay.
I think if it had been a fast runner, he would have gone around the horn.
Okay.
To second. The traditional double play.
I just think he thought it wasn't hit very hard. You know. 0-2 to Inciarte. And he takes.
Oh, that's not a strike.
I can't believe that was called a strike. That ball was ankle high.
Well, if you're the umpire, you can't argue that with the player. I mean, you blew it. You missed it.
I don't think he's arguing. I just think he just told him, you know, I thought it was a strike.
We'll see what the G Pitchcast says.
Oh, please.
Well, see, G Pitchcast is very forgiving.
Okay, let's see where he catches the ball. That's low. I'm sorry.
Well, Corey Blazer punches out Inciarte for the second out. Now Yohan Camargo homered for the Atlanta run in the second inning. And takes a first pitch curveball for a strike.
Don't think that DeGrom in the back of his mind realizes that he made a good fastball inside, that Camargo turned on it, and his entire inning he's gone to his changeup.
Another changeup for a strike, and it's 0-2.
Well, it's a borderline, Ronnie. I still think it was low.
Not a strike.
0-2 to Camargo. And a slow ground ball past DeGrom. Reyes has to barehand it and got him at first base.
Wow.
Don't know why Camargo decided to leave his feet. Might have cost him an infield hit. But Reyes throws him out, and that gets DeGrom through the fourth.
Another nice play by Jose.
Don't do that, kids. Doesn't get you there faster, I promise. Just get a mouthful of dirt. Home fourth inning in a 1-1 game. Todd Frazier leads off against Anibal Sanchez. Frazier flied to center his first time up. And thinking about a bunt with Camargo playing back. Todd looking for his first hit since coming off the disabled list. Camargo maybe a half step in closer this time.
They playing Frazier some point this year. 3 infielders on the left side.
And they might get back to that.
If he, I call this the Abner defense, as in the Doubleday.
As laid out almost certainly not by Abner Doubleday.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. It's a good story.
Doug Williams and John Harper break down the trade deadline moves and what the next step for the Mets should be. On the latest Shea Anything podcast, search Shea Anything and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. 2-2 to Frazier with Jackson and Reyes to follow for the Mets in the fourth. And Todd goes down swinging. 3 straight strikeouts for Anibal Sanchez, 4 for the night.
Both pitchers using their changeup a lot and effectively. DeGrom a little out of character. Sanchez, that's always been a big weapon for him.
Now Austin Jackson, who took a call third strike his first time up. Jackson 5 for 14 since joining the Mets. Didn't hit much with the Giants this year. They let him go. Traded him to Texas. The Rangers traded for him with the intention of releasing him, which they did, and the Mets scooped him up. And he grounds one right at the shortstop, Culberson. Ooh, low throw and a nice pick by Freeman for the second out.
What's with these throws from the infielders tonight? This is routine. Let's see the pick by Freddie on the backhand. Watch him work from the ground up, young men. There you go. That's an in-between hop.
I think the goal was to exemplify our defensive graphic with the scoop in Freddie's hand.
Oh, they did it on purpose then.
Yeah, but well, that was right. There's no ice cream in that scoop, though.
But the ball looks like
that's right,
like a scoop of ice cream. Well, here's Reyes, who grounded out his first time up. Jose's already made a couple of fine defensive plays in this game. .34-year-old Anibal Sanchez rejuvenating his career in Atlanta this year. Reyes grounds another one right at the second baseman, and Albies takes care of that. 1-2-3 inning for Sanchez in the bottom of the fourth. DeGrom heads back out for the fifth. Mets and Braves tied at 1. Jacob deGrom's given up a run on 4 hits over the first 4 innings. He's had some good defense played behind him. Charlie Culberson leads off in the top of the 5th for Atlanta. Struck out his first time up, and he swings through a fastball, 0-1. Culberson getting a start with Dansby Swanson getting the night off. Culberson, who filled in admirably in the postseason last year for the Dodgers when Corey Seager was hurt. He had quite the postseason. 8 for 16 with 4 extra base hits.
2 home runs. One in the division series, one in the World Series. Filled in also when Albies was out 4 or 5 games with a bad hamstring. He had 4 great games.
Has a walk-off home run against the Mets this year.
That's right.
He also hit a walk-off home run against the Mets when he was a member of the Rockies a couple of years ago. 10 straight strikes for DeGrom. Streak broken. 1-2.
I think he hit a walk-off home run in Dodger Stadium on the last game that Vin Scully ever did.
I think you're right. So he's got a sense for the dramatic.
Yes, he does.
Doesn't hit that many home runs, but he makes them memorable. And he goes down swinging. Another changeup from DeGrom for his 5th strikeout of the night. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. The other 4 National League players beside Freddie Freeman with 300 extra base hits since 2014. 2 Rockies, Goldschmidt and Rizzo.
Votto not on that list.
Walks too much.
Yeah.
Anibal Sanchez struck out his first time up. DeGrom is working at a clip maybe faster than we've ever seen tonight with nobody on.
Yeah, a frenetic pace.
Sanchez steps out, trying to slow him down.
Maybe he's aware of the forecast.
What's the forecast, Gabe?
Supposed to rain 9 o'clock.
Well, that'll hurry things up. Sanchez strikes out for the second time. 6 tonight for DeGrom. Well, only Tom Seaver has a lower Mets ERA in the history of the franchise than Jacob DeGrom. I think that that Mount Rushmore +1 tells you everything you need to know.
Yes.
Three on that pitching staff right there for the 73 National League champion Metsies. Kuzman and
Acuna drives one deep to left center. Conforto can't get there, and it short hops the wall. And Acuna scampers into second base with a 2-out double, his second hit of the night.
boy, these young players here, Acuna and Albies, are so impressive.
I think this was the changeup that he hit off the label. That's why it didn't go out of here, but still went to the track.
Fastball hitter here, particularly first ball fastball.
DeGrom's throwing him a first pitch changeup in both his at bats tonight.
Albies not as disciplined, not nearly as disciplined as Acuna at the plate.
Albies 0 for 2 tonight. First pitch swinging, gets a curveball, flies it down the left field line, and that lands fair, and that'll bring in the go-ahead run. Acuna scores. Albies pulls in at second base. Back-to-back 2-out doubles for the Braves youngsters, and Atlanta goes in front 2-1.
Gotta wonder if he was looking for that changeup, was paying attention. Is that a backdoor
breaking ball?
Breaking ball, but still, it's like an off-speed pitch. If you're looking away, that ball is around 2 feet inside the line, and that's just smart hitting right there.
Albies didn't even know it was going to be a hit. He stood in the box, thought it was going to go foul for the longest time.
Well, DeGrom took care of the first 2 hitters in the inning via the strikeout, but Acuna and Albies strike for back-to-back doubles, and just like that, Atlanta's back in front. And now Freeman, who's been aboard twice with a single and a walk.
Oh, there it is. Little circle change.
Change up to Acuna. That's the one we were talking about, hit on the label. That's why it didn't go out of here.
Grounds Freeman with a slider, and it's 1-1.
Well, you got 2 guys in the running for the National League batting championship back to back here, Freeman, Markakis. And you just pick your poison here.
Well, Freddie's been far more poisonous over the years.
Well, and particularly this year too. Freeman with runners in scoring position, 365, 316 with 2 outs. Markakis 269.
1-2 coming. Got him with a changeup. DeGrom with 3 strikeouts in the inning, but in between, Acuna and Albies put together back-to-back doubles. 7 strikeouts for DeGrom, but the Braves lead 2-1 halfway through. fifth. Ahmed reached for a pitch low and away and doubled down the right field line his first time up today.
Pitch out of the strike zone, and he's been having trouble with this pitch in particular, chasing the bad breaking ball out of the strike zone. That was out of the strike zone. He worked in the batting cage, evidently, on the curveball machine. And there you're going to see a series here of what he's doing. Watch his back foot, too. So, you know, you get in that, you work on things in the cage. I prefer always to work out on the field to see where I hit the ball. But at least the intent of Rosario was to go the opposite field, because that's a pitch. If you try to pull that pitch, and that pretty much says it right there, the chase, and that's really his chase percentage, you know, going out of the strike zone. 70% of the time. We'll get next to the league average at 58. So he's a free swinger.
I find the other stat even more remarkable, that he doesn't swing at so many balls that are in the middle of the plate. Far lower percentage than the league average. And yet he swings at so many pitches out of the zone.
I would like to know the ratio of down the middle pitches as compared to out of the strike zone pitches. Because once the pitchers find out that you chase, you're going to get a steady diet.
Now he's been swinging at more middle pitches lately than he was earlier in the season, but still well below the league average, while chasing more on the pitch low and away.
There's a lot of bad ball hitters that have come through down the highway.
And he takes one on the outside corner. Thought he might have had ball 4, but Sanchez got the changeup over for his 5th strikeout.
I didn't think that was a strike either.
I didn't believe.
Outside.
Yes.
Well outside. Good framing though by Suzuki. Both these Braves catchers framed so well. So 1 out and nobody on in the home 5th, and here's Mesoraco, full shift on against him.
Yeah, and he deserves the full shift. He's just really been, I just think he's grinding the bat. He's struggling and everything's speeding up. He's been pulling.
And he pops this one up on the right side. Freeman right near the bag. Caught it in foul territory for the 2nd out. So 2 out and nobody on, and now DeGrom, who's driven in the only Met run with a base hit up the middle. Jake started the season 3 for 43. Now he's 3 for his last 3. And he grounds that one down to Freeman. Nice backhand play by Freddie. Sanchez covers, side retired, 8 in a row retired now by Anibal Sanchez. And he's got the lead through 5. Braves 2, Mets 1 as we go to the 6th.
So I turned quick and looked up, and I'm with the two owners, and there was a big sign there carried in there, "Go, go Mets. Go, go Mets." And I says, "There you are. Look up there." I said, "They're still out here in Cincinnati cheering us." And they said, "Well, where do you draw all these people?" I says, "They're following our club around. They go on the planes and following us all over the circuit. To think anybody would be following the club in 10th place, because we started off with 8 losses when we started the season, and the ball club has drawn 500,000 people."
Remember, they were in 10th place, as Casey said, back in the old National League. Now you can't finish lower than 5th.
Yep.
Mets were 10th, and then 10th again, and then 10th the year after that.
It's funny when I hear or see older clips of people pronouncing Cincinnati was Cincinnati.
It's like Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri.
Nick Markakis leading off in the 6th inning.
Well,
it's been a change-up happy night for Jacob deGrom. I don't know why. I mean, he had his good fastball in the 1st inning, but he hasn't really thrown it a lot since.
It's interesting, his plan of attack.
Do you think it's that? Do you think he came into the night thinking, I'm going to throw more changeups to this team, or do you think it's a matter of what he feels he has best?
No, I think he's throwing 95 plus. I think he just has decided to flip the switch on how he faces these Braves. As the season winds on, you face them over and over and over again. Even though he's had success, he saw him last night. Pretty efficient offense.
I agree with you, Ronnie. This is premeditated.
Gets it on the hands of Markakis with a fastball. Rosario retreats. In comes Conforto to call him off. 1 out. Let's check in with the studio. Justine Ward has a game break brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. Justine? Pirates and Cardinals tied for 3rd place in the NL Central, both 4 games back in the wild card race. Here's Kurt Suzuki. Takes it high, ball 1, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, you guys are talking about whether or not this plan of attack was premeditated by Jacob deGrom. Freddie Freeman certainly thinks it was. He's a guy that has seen Jacob deGrom more than any other batter in the major leagues, as Suzuki grounds out 2 away. And what he said before the game today is that what makes deGrom so great is that he can change what he's doing mid at bat. He said the last time he faced the Braves, Freeman saw 3 straight changeup for the first time ever from deGrom, and that what makes deGrom so special is when you think you have him figured out, he does something completely different, and you can never nail him down.
That's great memory there, Steve, of that last game, because I remember that in Atlanta. Freddie Freeman had his way in the first 3 at-bats and decided to try plan B.
Another first pitch changeup to Inciarte.
And if he lasts later into this game, let's say the 7th, 8th, I bet you he might even go back to the fastball again.
Inciarte has flied out and struck out tonight, 0 for 2. Jake has not had a 1-2-3 inning tonight. He was on his way to one of the last innings, struck out the first 2 hitters, then gave up back-to-back doubles.
See Tyler Flowers repairing his glove.
Or somebody's glove. Glove doctor. 2-1. Inciarte pops it up. Shallow right center. Nimmo and Jackson both coming, and Jackson stepping in front of Nimmo. They collided lightly, but Jackson holds on to retire the side. 2 guys calling. Center fielder's ball. Get out of my way. Home sixth inning, Brandon Nimmo leads off. Third time around the batting order for Anibal Sanchez. Nimmo's had 2 good at bats. He lined to right, a great play by Markakis, and they drew a walk in the third. That's the last Met base runner. Sanchez has retired 8 in a row, striking out 4 of the 8. Nimmo takes a strike, 1-1. We check in with Steve Gelbs.
Gary, Brandon Nimmo has clearly had to make an adjustment to the league, and that's been a lot of the discussion around him, that now that pitchers are pitching him up, he needs to adjust to them. But what Nimmo was saying is that he actually thinks in trying to adjust too much, that's hurt him even more. He's really focused on that upper pitch. He's tried to change his swing to hit it, and what's happening is he's still not hitting it, but now he's not prepared for his bread and butter pitch either. So when he gets it, he's either missing it or he's hitting it softly. He's not doing the same damage with it that he was doing before. So recently he has switched back. He's trying to focus on at the belt or below, and if they pitch him upstairs and he can't get there, he's just going to let that pitch go until there's 2 strikes.
Steve's report brought to you by Dr. Scholl's.
Hallelujah.
And he goes down swinging on the cutter from Sanchez. That's 6 strikeouts for Anibal.
Well, when Brandon got off to the hot start with the home runs and no one expected him, he's got 14 for the year. I don't know what went down there in the batting cage. I know under Sandy Alderson, home runs were emphasized. I started seeing an uppercut, and then he was swinging under the pitch up here. He lost that level swing on that high pitch. And once you get a bad habit, they're hard to break. So if a lot of hitters that come down the pike that don't make an adjustment, if you can't hit it, then that's a pitch you got to discipline yourself in the batting cage when you take BP to take and look into your strength. And so what Brandon's basically saying, and I agree, is lay off that high pitch, because umpires don't really call that high pitch. Most of the time they call it a ball, and look into your strength. So I like what I hear out of Brandon.
The Ephus pitch is fouled back by Bautista.
That one he hung. Bautista would love to have that one back.
So the bottom line is, when we talk about hitters making adjustment, often it's not adjusting to hitting a particular pitch, it's adjusting to not swinging at a particular pitch.
And not altering your swing. Not changing, making a radical change in your swing. You know, you have what you have. You have an area that you really like to hit within the strike zone. And you get it there, boy, you don't let it go.
And the better hitter you are, the bigger that zone is.
You know, Lou Brock said to me when I was struggling, Gary, when I was young, and they were pounding me inside, and Lou said, pulled me aside one day, and he said, "Where do you like the ball, Keith?" I said, "I like it away." And he goes, "Right." He goes, "And why are you looking in, worried in? You're looking into your weakness. Just look into your strength." When it made perfect sense to me.
Makes perfect sense to me.
I thought I bored you.
Never bore me, kid. You might surprise me, but you never bore me. 2-2 coming. And off the play with the cutter, 3-2 to Bautista. Jose struck out each of his first 2 at bats. He pounds this one foul.
You know, Gary, I didn't like the ball up and in. That's the toughest pitch to hit. And I learned in batting practice to take that pitch. When I got more experience, I'd look for it in certain situations. I'd look in. But I learned to take that pitch, and you do it in the batting cage.
Bautista draws a walk.
And I did not like a right-handed cutter. That Montreal pitching staff was darn good, and they just pounded you with cutters. But I learned to really, okay, when the ball leaves his hand, if it was 6 inches, if it cut the middle of the plate in the inside corner, it was going to be a strike. If it's anywhere closer starting out, it was going to be a ball. Now, that's coming in 90-something miles an hour. It's difficult, but I learned to discipline myself to take that pitch and make them throw it for a strike. I didn't do it all the time. I mean, they got me more, more times than I got them, but I had to make the adjustment to that cutter.
Conforto is lined to center and struck out tonight. Bautista the tying run at first with 1 out.
I would recommend Michael working on this curveball machine too, the 2 tires, and do the big arcing curveball, like a slow curve, because he's had a tough time staying back on changeups and breaking stuff, slow breaking stuff. He fishes, and he needs to recognize that pitch. And it comes, if it's a curveball, it starts at a certain elevation, Gary, out of the pitcher's hand. And if it's above that spot, okay, you got to make your mark. Okay, out of his hand here, it's a strike. Up higher than that, it's going to be high, or lower than that, it's going to be in the dirt. Those are the things you got to figure out.
One, 2 coming. And Conforto just got a piece. Only once this year has Sanchez gone over 100 pitches. He threw 112 2 starts back against the Nats. His last start 97 in 6 1/3 against LA.
Yeah, he's getting there.
No action in the Braves bullpen. Mets have had only 2 hits tonight. Rosario hit an opposite field double in the 3rd, and DeGrom drove him home with a single, and that's been it. 2 walks, 7 strikeouts for Sanchez. And Conforto takes strike 3 called. That cutter on the outside corner gets him looking. 8 strikeouts for Sanchez, matches his season high.
Just a perfectly placed pitch, come in from the outside, caught plenty of that outside corner.
So 2 out, Bautista still at first, and here's Frazier, who's flied out and struck out 0 for 2. Todd takes the cutter away for ball 1.
Well, here's another example of a pitcher that's not throwing it through a brick wall, but knows how to pitch. Anibal Sanchez. He's not overpowering by any stretch of the imagination, and there he is, dealing a little here, a little there, in and out, up and down.
If you're the right-handed hitter, though, against Sanchez, when you think about how he's pitched tonight, 90% or more of the pitches have been middle away. 2 pitches I can remember, he had 2 strikeouts on the inside corner with cutters. I don't know how you make that adjustment to that, but that's what you're going to see.
That's pulled over the bag, just foul. Well, that's another spot where Camargo is right on the line.
Yep.
If it had been fair, he probably would have been able to get it.
Right. He's playing third base like it's 7th inning on, and the tying run is up to the plate.
Stu Sherwater with the call appeared to be the right one.
I've never seen a third baseman play so close to the line as Camargo the entire game.
Well, got a guy not throwing particularly hard out there.
And a lot of cambios.
1-2. And the curveball in the dirt, stopped by Suzuki. 2-2.
So we've seen the slow changeup, and now we see the slow curveball.
Austin Jackson would be next. And that one strikes out Frazier, so he went back to that Ephus pitch. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Sanchez, a season-high 9 for the night. And nothing but frustration for the Mets. They've managed just 2 hits through 6 innings, down 2-1.
That's a good pitch, Gary.
Seventh inning, Johan Camargo, whose home run put the Braves in front back in the 2nd inning, takes high from DeGrom for ball 1. Well, that is certainly the highest percentage of changeups I think we've ever seen Jacob DeGrom throw in a game.
Almost equal with the fastball.
How about that?
There's the curveball to get even on Camargo 1-1. Camargo parked his home run into the 2nd deck in left field. Grounded out in a slow roller to Reyes his last time up. And he hits this one slowly down to Frazier, who has plenty of time. 1 out. And DeGrom working at a relatively low pitch count, allowing just a couple of runs. His team's only scored him 1. He had to drive it in. I mean, it's the same story every single time.
Just put it on a loop.
Question is, can the Mets find a way to change the outcome? Dan Winkler is up in the Braves bullpen. Looks like Anibal Sanchez is done for the day. Charlie Culberson takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. 6 strong innings for Sanchez, allowed just a run on 2 hits. Ryan Flaherty on deck to pinch hit for him. And Culberson fouls it off. Watch SNY Mets games on the go on any device with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Culberson's been up twice, struck out both times against DeGrom. And Jake misses away with the fastball, 97. We were talking off the air, Ronnie, about Jake's reliance on the changeup tonight. You were making a point about when you throw a lot of changeups, what that might mean for your fastball later in the game.
Well, I found for myself when I went to plan B, because maybe a team was hitting me well or I'm facing them the 5th time in the season, that when I went to plan B, sometimes because you don't throw as many fastballs as you usually do, although that one spotted well, I always found it hard when I needed that 3-2 dart to throw in the outside corner. It wasn't always there.
No, it was there for DeGrom.
It was.
Time. Strikes out Culberson for the 3rd time.
Got a little more talent, this right-hander.
8 strikeouts tonight for DeGrom, 172 for the year. Now Ryan Flaherty will bat for Anibal Sanchez. Flaherty, whose season got off to such a hot start, the numbers do not reflect that anymore.
I mean, at one point he and Swanson were hitting in the 350 range in the middle of April.
DeGrom with the 172 strikeouts, back in second place in the National League behind Max Scherzer, who has 210. And curveball in for a strike to Flaherty, 1-1.
Scherzer's on his way possibly to a 300 strikeout season.
Overpowering Flaherty, 1-2. That's strikeouts per 9 innings. Jake began 5th in that category and 5th in fewest walks per 9 innings. That's a nice daily double.
Scherzer won his 15th game last night.
1-2 coming. Struck him out. 9 strikeouts for DeGrom as he blows away Flaherty to end the inning. Jake's retired 7 in a row. Stretch time at Citi Field. Braves 2, Mets 1. So the Phil's got a run for Velasquez, and he's held the Marlins off the board. Mets have gotten a run for DeGrom, but he's given up 2. He's due up 5th in the bottom of the 7th. Dan Winkler is on to pitch for Atlanta. He's had a nice rookie year.
He's part of that no-name bullpen of Winkler, Shane Carl, and A.J. Minter, who saved last night's game that has been so good and consistent for the Braves.
Jackson 0 for 2 tonight, struck out and grounded out. So Anibal Sanchez went 6 innings, allowed 1 run, 2 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. 100 pitches for Sanchez, who's in line for his 6th win of the year.
He looks that cutter and slider. Doesn't walk anybody. You notice only the 11 walks in 40+ innings.
And Jackson takes a rip, comes up empty on the cutter, 2-2. Reyes on deck, Rosario behind him. Jackson takes high, full count.
I think when you watch Winkler, I think he has a slider, but that fastball that cuts is not a cutter really, just his fastball. That's the action that it has.
Three-two. Jackson fouls off another cutter. Hambletonian tomorrow. By the way, that didn't sound anything like a trotter. It sounded more like a galloper. Gotta fix that. Three-two coming, and Jackson fouls off another one. Game 3 of this series tomorrow night. Zach Wheeler makes the start for the Mets. And then there's Rain Delay Theater, the podcast, which you'll want to search for, subscribe to, and listen, because, you know, Wayne and Steve would be very upset if you didn't. So please do. It's good stuff, really. 8th pitch of the at-bat, and Jackson takes ball 4. And so the Mets get the tying run aboard to start the 7th. Quite a plate appearance for Jackson, working out the walk against Winkler, who walks very few. And we'll see what the Mets do here with Reyes.
Well, Winkler does not hold runners, does not hold them on very well. It's pretty slow to the plate. So we've seen Austin Jackson still has base stealing skills.
Stole a base last night, his first as a Met and his 3rd of the year. Third baseman Camargo in, and Reyes set to swing, takes a fastball for a strike. Takes a long look down at Glenn Sherlock to see whether the bunt is on now.
Nope, they've got Camargo at third base in tight on the grass.
See that long arm action to first, doesn't have a great move. Remember now, this is not Reyes batting in the 8th spot. He's in the 6th spot.
You got Rosario and Mesoraco behind him.
And there you see Camargo on the left of your screen in tight.
Pitch out, and almost a wild pitch out. What's that? Maybe half a dozen pitch outs we've seen all season.
Well, I'm saying that's got to be an old baseball guy and Brian Snicker to even call that.
Reyes fouling back the cutter, and it's 1-2.
You know, the pitch out is used so rare that I don't even think pitchers know how to execute it anymore. The way to execute that is you have to hold the ball and entice the runner to go and have a slow action and then just fire a strike off the plate. You want him to go.
As the running game has shrunk, pitch outs have pretty much disappeared in the game. 1-2, and Reyes lifts one out to right. Markakis has plenty of room. And that's the first out of the inning. Jackson back to first. In 2007, there were over 700 pitch outs thrown in Major League Baseball. 10 years later, last year, was it 129?
Yeah. Yep. I hardly ever see him anymore.
Probably fewer this year. Now Rosario, who has scored the only Met run, he doubled down the right field line in the 3rd, and DeGrom drove him home. Jackson at first with 1 out. And Rosario hits it off Winkler's glove right to the bag, grabbed by Alves, who turns the double play. A fortunate bounce for the Braves. Winkler just trying to get out of the way, deflected it right to the second base bag, and the Braves turn a 1-4-3 double play to end the inning. Talk about lucky.
I'm not so certain that Albies would have gotten there.
Well, Jacob deGrom has thrown 8 innings in 5 of his last 9 starts. He'll try and do that again tonight. Top of the batting order in the top of the 8th, and Ronald Acuna fouls off a fastball. Acuna has 2 of the 6 Atlanta hits. He singled in the 3rd and then doubled and scored the go-ahead run in the 5th. Nice seats. Acuna, Albies, and Freeman for the Braves in the 8th. And Albies golfs one deep to right center. Jackson back, has room on the track, and catches it a step from the fence. 1 long out.
380 out there. That's a long way.
By the way, Acuna's pretty good.
Yes. I'm impressed.
20 years old. The Mets are going to be seeing him for years. They're going to have to figure something out. He's 9 for 21 against the Mets thus far. It's 429. That won't stand. Here's Ozzie Albies, who drove in the go-ahead run with a double inside the left field line his last time up. And again, deGrom starts him off soft. So first pitches in his 4 at-bats: changeup, curveball, changeup.
Well, it shows you the respect.
He smacks this one deep to right. Back goes Nimmo onto the track, and he runs that one down. Nice play, Nimmo. He got a good break on that ball, which was hit well by Albies for the 2nd out.
A changeup again that got enough to the end of the bat.
Zellman likes it.
I wonder if Lugo was yelling, "You've got room, you've got room." He was yelling something to him.
He's giving him a nice ovation.
Lugo applauded. Zellman was just in awe. So 2 up, 2 long outs. Here's Freeman. There's the spray chart from StatCast on balls hit within 120 feet of home plate by Freeman this year. He had one of those 5%ers his first time up tonight.
Right.
That ground ball that it was hit 57 miles an hour inside the 3rd. Don't get too many balls reaching the outfield at 57 miles an hour. deGrom ahead 0-2 on Freeman. Sails that fastball, looking for the final pitch of the night.
He just tried to throw that as hard as he could.
We've seen more smiles from deGrom tonight. He's kind of had a happy-go-lucky demeanor this evening, right from his pratfall in the 1st inning. Little tapper past the mound. In comes Frazier to grab it. Double clutches, but still got him at first base to end the inning. Todd had to reach in a 2nd time. deGrom gets through 8 for the 6th time in the last 10 starts. And now the Mets will try and find him a run or 2. They go to the bottom of the 8th. Atlanta 2, New York 1. Tell me where you've heard this story before. Jacob deGrom's pitching tonight. The Mets have 2 hits as we go to the bottom of the 8th.
He has one of them.
Dansby Swanson in for defense. He'll play shortstop in the bottom of the 8th. Jesse Biddle on to pitch.
Jesse Biddle had a clean inning in the 7th inning last night with a strikeout, pitching here in the 8th.
Devin Mesoraco leads off. Wilmer Flores on deck to bat for deGrom, who threw 8 good innings tonight. Finds himself behind in the game. Groundhog Day. Mesoraco, though, takes one to right field, sinking fast. Markakis in to slide and make the play. Second time Markakis has left his feet to make a play tonight. 1 out in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, there's another way the Braves here can beat you. They have outstanding defense, particularly in the outfield.
It's being alert, ready, first pitch, great jump.
Now Wilmer Flores will pinch hit. Wilmer started each of the last 16 games at first base. Has swung the bat well, but has had problems defensively, particularly the last couple of games. So coming off the bench tonight. Mechanics. And the first pitch curveball wraps around the plate. Ball 1 to Wilmer. Flores facing Biddle for the first time. And takes a fastball for a strike. 1-1. Anthony Swarzak getting ready for the top of the 9th. And the fastball away to Flores. 2-1. Wilmer has done great things as a pinch hitter this year. 6 for 15 with 2 pinch hit home runs. Tries to lay off, and he stopped it in time. 3-1. Three-1 to Wilmer, and he flies one out to right. Easy for Markakis. 2 out. SNY Super Slow Motion is brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers. Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Oh, those are great shots, those kids. Eager.
deGrom done after 8. 19th straight start. He's allowed 3 runs or less. 5 short of Dwight Gooden's club record set in 1985. 14 straight quality starts, most since Johan Santana in 2008. And yet, it'll be his 7th straight start without a win, unless the Mets can rally right now. Nimmo tonight 0 for 2 and a walk. And the fastball up and in from Biddle. 1-1.
Taken nicely, something that Brandon has mentioned and we spoke about. Taking that high pitch.
Jesse Biddle working each of the first 2 games of this series. Another rookie out of that Atlanta bullpen who has been a major factor for them. Former Phillies first-round draft pick, finally making it to the big leagues after a host of injuries. And Nimmo grounds one foul. Coming up tonight, Geico Sports Night after the post game. Steven Madden's on the DL, Yankees and Red Sox. And probably something about that Beckham guy. All on Geico Sports Night tonight after the post game. 1-2 coming, and Nimmo takes the fastball high. 2-2. Anibal Sanchez went the first 6, allowed a run on 2 hits, a season-high 9 strikeouts. Dan Winkler worked around a leadoff walk in the 7th. And now Biddle trying to finish off the bottom of the 8th. 2-2. Too high. If Nimmo can get aboard, Jose Bautista would come to bat.
Well, Nimmo does what he does best here, and this is a case where he's got to try to get on base here. And he's working the count.
A walk and a blast would do it. 3-2. Strike 3 call. Got him looking at the slider. And Biddle has himself a 1-2-3 bottom of the 8th. And for the 7th straight start, a quality start for Jacob deGrom that will end up without a victory in his column.
Wow.
I think you guys might have found the formula. Nelson takes the lead, change the karma.
Yes, I like that.
Anthony Swarzak will work in the top of the 9th for New York.
3 1/3 in his last 3 outings. No runs and a couple of saves as he has turned it on here in August.
Nick Markakis leads off for the Braves in the 9th. He's 1 for 3 on the night. So deGrom 100 pitches in 8 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, 1 home run. His ERA goes up a few ticks from 1.82 to 1.85, still the best in the majors. And if the Mets don't rally in the 9th, he'll fall to 5-7 on the year. 5-7. People's United Bank brings you tonight's starters. Each threw exactly 100 pitches. Sanchez in 6, deGrom in 9. They each struck out 9. Nicely pitched game on both sides, but as Nelson said, come on, it's ridiculous.
A sick joke we were saying in between
it's just
innings. It's not...
Almost expect Alan Funt to pop out.
Yeah. We were only kidding.
The candid camera segment.
Or, like Ronnie said, Rod Serling. Or Outer Limits. Don't touch that dial.
Fastball high to Markakis, 1-2. Kurt Suzuki on deck, then Ender Inciarte. As the Braves look for some insurance, they've got A.J. Minter, who minted his 7th save last night, getting ready for another chance in the bullpen.
DeGrom drove in the run, right?
He certainly did. Mets only have 2 hits. Rosario doubled, DeGrom singled him in. That was in the 3rd inning. That's it. But it's an oft-told story. Tonight, the Mets played pretty good defense behind DeGrom.
They did.
That's been an issue at times.
Play by Reyes to Bautista to Frazier was a gem.
Two coming. And Markakis gets jammed and pops it up. Nimmo coming on to call. 1 out. That's 11 straight Braves who've been retired. Their last base runner was Albies, who doubled in the go-ahead run in the 5th inning. So now Suzuki, who's 0 for 3.
Gonna watch him on the first pitch. He likes to go for the downs in these kind of games. First pitch.
Two for 8 in his career against Swarzak. A check swing foul. In the bottom of the 9th, the Mets will have Bautista, Conforto, and Frazier due up. Suzuki grounds one down to Frazier. Nice hip pocket grab. And that's the 2nd out.
Nice play by Frazier. Kind of just beautiful right there. Just kind of coaxed it into his glove.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Ender Inciarte, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight. 2 fly balls and a strikeout. Trying to butt his way on and fouls it off. You like that with 2 out and nobody on?
Yeah, because he can steal the base.
Yeah, he's got, yeah, good call, Ronnie.
It's not a bad move by him.
23 stolen bags on the year.
Fastball for a strike. And Swarzak continues to look sharper than he has all year just in this last 10 days.
Well, he's used his fastball more. He became so slider happy. You know, he throws 95 plus. Got to use that.
And Inciarte takes just inside. Swarzak took 1 step toward the dugout. Thought maybe he'd get the call. Johan Camargo, whose home run opened the scoring in the 2nd inning tonight against DeGrom, would be next. Braves 2 runs, 6 hits. The Mets 1 run, 2 hits. We're in the 9th. 1-2. Inciarte whacks it foul. Braves trying for their 5th straight win tonight. Trying to at least keep pace with the Phillies, who are a half game in front in the National League East. Braves moved into the 2nd wild card spot with their win last night. A half game in front of Arizona. A game and a half behind Milwaukee, which holds the 1st wild card. Again, the 1-2, and Inciarte fouls off the slider. There are the standings. Phillies are up 1-0 on the Marlins in the 7th.
Well, the Braves are 32-16 in the East. There's a wild card.
Yeah, that really has been their go-to, hasn't it?
Yep.
10-3 against the Mets, but they have winning records against all 4 of their National League East opponents. Inciarte fouls off another one. He's being a pest. Again, the 1-2. And he misses with the slider. 2-2. Well, tomorrow night, game 3 of this series. Zach Wheeler for the Mets. Kevin Gausman makes his first start for the Braves after coming over in a deadline deal from Baltimore. Coverage at 6:30 tomorrow night on SNY. Eighth pitch of the at bat coming to Inciarte. And he yanks that one foul.
Can't put him away.
Mesoraco out for a visit.
You get frustrated when you get a hitter like this that gives you, it makes you really dig down deep.
Yeah, well, especially when you're making your pitches and they're putting them in play. Yeah, it does become frustrating because you feel as though you got the game plan, you're executing the pitch, but you know, hitter's trying too. Inciarte cutting down on his stroke, having a 2-strike approach, just trying to put it in play.
Pitch number 9 from Swarzak. And that's line caught by Reyes. Side retired. Jose's had a terrific night in the field. He helped Swarzak to a 1-2-3 inning. Mets will have Bautista, Conforto, and Frazier coming up in the bottom of the 9th. Looking to pull one out. Conforto with a chance to swing in the 9th inning. 2-1. J.J. Minter, who picked up his 7th save in 7 tries last night, goes for number 8 tonight.
Yeah, he walked the leadoff hitter Flores to start that inning, but still able to get through it. Retired Plawecki on the strikeout to end the game.
Jose Bautista, 2 strikeouts and a walk tonight, 0 for his last 17. And Minter's first pitch cutter is pulled foul, 0-1. Bautista, Conforto, and Frazier as the Mets try and find some offense in the 9th. They've been held to just 2 hits tonight. They both came in the 3rd inning. Rosario doubled, DeGrom singled him home, and that's it. Camargo even closer to the line now. where he's been playing all night. And it's popped up. Swanson trailing out, makes the call and makes the catch. 1 down. And so Bautista's struggles continue, now 0 for 18. And now Conforto against the left-hander. Michael hit 1 ball hard tonight. He lined out to center field in the first inning against Anibal Sanchez. He has struck out twice since. A.J. Minter, another rookie, making his mark out of that Atlanta bullpen. We've seen 3 of them tonight. Winkler, Biddle, and now Minter, all rookies, all having terrific years. Frazier next. And Conforto couldn't hold the swing on the fastball. 1-1.
Minter kind of short arms it up there and throws awfully hard.
Conforto 0 for 6 in this series. And takes the fastball away. 2-1.
The motion from the side has that right foot really across his body. Hides the ball very well. Not much of a push-off, just a strong kid.
Out to left center, chasing Inciarte back, but he's there. And that's the second out. So Minter's retired the first 2, and the Mets are down to their final out of the night with Todd Frazier coming up. Here's an upset. Yankees Red Sox ended before the Mets Braves.
Well, that's because Mr. Porcello, I heard.
1 hitter. He gave up a Miguel Andujar home run, and that's it. He threw 86 pitches in a 1-hit performance.
A gem.
It's Maddox.
Yes, it is.
86. Frazier 0 for 3 tonight. And Todd takes a cutter for a strike. Todd's 0 for 7 since returning from the disabled list last night. And he takes up and in, a ball and a strike. If he can keep it going, Austin Jackson would be next. Three infielders on the left side against Frazier. And the fastball runs in, 2-1.
He struck out Frazier last night in the 9th on a 3-2 changeup, if you recall.
Right.
Pulled a rabbit out of his hat.
Only one he threw. Grounded down to third. Camargo off his glove. The desperation throw not in time. Wow. And the Mets have life. Camargo reaching, got a piece of it, couldn't hang on to it.
Now this is too close to the line. If you're guarding the line, I'm sorry, you can get 4 feet, 5 feet off the blind. And he makes that play getting in front.
He still got to it. It hit him right in the leather. He just lost it.
It's been a much easier play for him.
By the way, nice recovery, and he almost got Frazier at first base.
Closer than you would have thought, right?
So now the tying run aboard. Austin Jackson at the plate. 0 for 2 and a walk tonight. And Jackson takes a home run cut at a cutter. 0-1.
That was his best cutter of the last 2 nights.
Pretty tough one right there.
Jackson hit a home run in Washington, and that lopsided Mets lost the other night. his first home run of the season. And Jackson grounds one down to Freeman, and that'll do it. Another well-pitched game for Jacob deGrom. Another game where the Mets fall short despite their Cy Young candidate pitching 8 strong innings. Ozzie Albies with the go-ahead double in the 5th inning. deGrom pitched 8 strong, but Anibal Sanchez and the Braves get the win as they hang on to win 2-1.
And the 6 times that he's gone 8 innings, 48 innings, only given up 9 runs. He has 1 win, 3 losses, and 2 no decisions.
And give Anibal Sanchez credit. Came in here 6 strong innings. Only gave up a run on 2 hits in that Brave bullpen. 3 scoreless innings. And the Braves come in here and do what they have to do so far.
5 straight wins for Atlanta. The game summary presented by Jeep. 4 times this year and 3 times in their last 22 games the Mets have been held to just 2 hits. They're a season worst 19 games under 500 as the Mets lose for the 4th straight time despite another strong start from Jacob deGrom, whose season ERA is at 1.85, his record at 5-7. More from Flushing coming right up.